Hello and welcome to Granada Reports.
Hello, thanks for joining us on the programme this evening.
Olivia's mum is caught for the trial of the man accused of shooting her 9-year-old daughter. Thomas Cashman denies murder. We're live with the latest as a jury sworn in.
Get our trains back on track. New calls for improvements in the region's rail services.
The internet safety lessons it's hoped will stay with these young people for life.
If someone does say something like, send me a selfie of you who we don't know, we know what to do in that.
And it's a return to winter, I'm afraid, over the next few days. I'll be back later on with a full weather forecast.
Well, first tonight, and the family of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Corbell have been in court today for the opening stage of the trial of the man accused of her murder.
Olivia died after a shooting at her home in Liverpool. Thomas Cashman denies all the charges against him.
Our correspondent Andy Bonner is at Manchester Crown Court. Andy.
Yeah, as you say, Olivia was of course fatally shot in her own home in the Dovecot area of Liverpool one evening last August. Today, the man accused of murdering the 9-year-old, Thomas Cashman, appeared in the dock here at Manchester Crown Court. Also in court today, members of Olivia's family wearing pink ribbons. Olivia's mother, Cheryl, who had been injured in the incident, arrived with Olivia's brother, sister and aunties. They sat and watched as the jury was randomly selected from a pool of 60 people.
And Andy, the judge had lots of advice for the new jurors.
He did, Lucy. She did, rather. Mrs. Justice Yip told them that it would be perfectly natural to feel shock and upset at Olivia's shooting. The death of a child, she said, is a sensitive topic, but she asked them to put emotion to one side. After taking their seat and being sworn in, the judge told them that they mustn't be influenced by any reporting, that they shouldn't research the case at all. They are responsible for deciding the facts and reaching a verdict. We're expecting the prosecution to begin the case here tomorrow. 34-year-old Thomas Cashman from Grenadier Drive in West Derby denies all 5 counts against him, including the murder of Olivia Pratt-Corbell, the wounding of her mother Cheryl, the attempted murder of Joseph Nee, and 2 counts of possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. We're expecting the case here to last for 4 weeks.
OK, Andy, it's Manchester Crown Court. For now, thank you.
Well, next tonight, train passengers are having their lives blighted by constant cancellations across the north, according to the region's local politicians.
Yes, leaders from across the north have come together at the annual conference of Transport for the North, demanding the government do more to improve the region's rail services.
It's problems with TransPennine Express and Avanti West Coast that are top of the agenda, as Tom Sheldrick reports from Newcastle.
They are just packing up here now after today's Transport for the North conference in Newcastle. It was supposed to be a chance for Metro mayors and other local leaders to help shape the railways of the future. But they say that it's problems right now which are holding the region back, causing misery for passengers and costing the North West in terms of jobs and economic growth. Figures for the start of this year show that TransPennine Express cancelled nearly 1,800 services in 4 weeks. That's nearly a quarter of their scheduled trains, and it's claimed that if their reliability stayed like that, it would mean more than 23,000 cancellations across the year. The Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham was among those here calling for change. He's previously said that TransPennine should be stripped of their franchise. The Transport Secretary said here today that he hasn't decided yet whether their current contract should be renewed.
The current contract expires on the 23rd of May, or runs to the 23rd of May. Clearly there are some really big challenges about delivering services. The Rail Minister's been having weekly meetings with them. I've met their Managing Director recently to explain what they need to do, and we'll bear all that in mind when we take decisions. But I would also say, to run that railway efficiently, it also requires the trade unions and ASLEF to do a deal on rest day working while we train up more drivers.
TransPennine Express say they are pulling out all the stops to make things better for passengers, including improving their overtime offer to drivers to nearly £500 a shift. They're now urging the Train Drivers Union ASLEF to put that to its members. Meanwhile, one of the North West's other main rail providers, Avanti West Coast, is also facing questions over the future of its franchise, and there are questions over whether the government taking contracts away would make things better. The message from politicians here today, though, is that they could hardly be any worse.
Yeah, Tom Sheldrick reporting from Newcastle there. Now, the Home Secretary has said that she wants to reassure the public in the wake of the Manchester Arena inquiry that her priority is to keep people safe.
Last week saw the third and final volume published from the independent hearing. It found MI5 had missed a significant chance to take action against the bomber leading up to the attack.
Our political correspondent, Leisha Manali, joins us now from Westminster. What has Suella Braverman been saying, Leisha?
Well, Gamal, this was the Home Secretary's first chance to update MPs in the wake of Thursday's report, and alongside expressing her profound sorrow and sympathy for the Arena families, reassurance seemed to be the watchword of the day. Suella Braverman acknowledged that it's key that we learn what lessons can be learned from the atrocity, but also noted that counter-terrorism work in the UK is already improving, that MI5 have disrupted no less than 37 late-stage attack plots since 2017, and there have already been changes to the way people who could be a terror threat are being managed and monitored. But these report findings last Thursday did not hold back, and it's clear there was genuine anger from some of our region's politicians today about what should happen next to make this right.
Too often in this place, an apology from an organisation seems to be enough. Well, it's not. People died as a result of the actions not only of this bomber, but of the gross negligence of some of the bodies that I've been talking about. Who has been held accountable? Who is going to be responsible? And will this information be passed on to the families?
There are no words that will provide solace to the families affected, but I hope that they can gain confidence by knowing that there is a huge amount of seriousness being attached to this report, and we are doing everything in our power to make sure that the lessons learned will be applied in the real world.
Strong feelings, understandably. James Daly, just one of a number of North West MPs speaking today on behalf of their own constituents who are bereaved or murdered or maimed. But this points to the wider political challenge that the government face here as well. Because of security concerns, a number of the inquiry chair's recommendations are therefore closed recommendations. They've not been made public, and any progress made on them will by their nature be behind closed doors as well. Now that's a real challenge for the families, MPs and the wider public who all desperately want to see that improvements are being made. Nonetheless, the Home Secretary did reassure the House today that it is a committee of MPs, the Intelligence and Security Committee, who will be monitoring what changes are being made in this area.
Leisha, thank you. On to other news tonight, and police have confirmed that a body found in Salford is Peter Baglin. The 55-year-old grandfather from Worsley was reported missing more than 10 weeks ago after going for a walk by the Bridgewater Canal. Police don't believe there are any suspicious circumstances surrounding his death.
Electricity bills in the Isle of Man are set to rise by 51%. The island's utilities company says the increase will be applied in 2 stages in April and July after a 6-month price freeze. It means the average bill could go up by more than £380. Now, children in the region are learning to say no to online demands in a bid to turn the tide on threats and violence.
Yeah, it's tough to get them off social media. It's tough to get adults off social media. So these young people in Liverpool are being taught how important it is to set their own boundaries and to be aware of the danger of sharing your image on the web.
Here's our correspondent, Anne O'Connor.
They are 10 and 11 and not yet out of primary school. But the pupils at St Cecilia's in Liverpool are learning internet safety lessons that may stay with them for life.
If we say to a young person, don't do that, it'll put you at risk, we are unlikely to see change of the behaviour of that child.
They watch a film scenario on what to do when a stranger asks for a selfie. It's part of the Safer Streets campaign, tackling violence against women and girls.
Anyone who's got a teenager knows it is attractive. They want to push the boundaries, they want to take a risk. And if you tell them no, it is more exciting because you're telling them no, not to do something, and that's what teenagers love to do. But at a younger age, if we can get in primary schools and we can show them there's a different way.
The children play out their feelings when they wrestle with the decisions to stay safe online.
Children are children, they haven't really changed, but times have changed. And it's quite a scary world out there from time to time, and we need to give the children the tools and the skills to be able to refuse and resist all kinds of harmful behaviours.
So that like we can be like safe online, and if someone like does say something like send me a selfie of you who we don't know, we know what to do in that.
You like tell a parent, tell a teacher, like any adult that you trust.
It can help you in when you're older in life. Let's say if somebody randomly texts you says, send me a selfie. It's always good. You must have your own right to say yes or no, and they should always respect you with your boundaries and your consent.
That sometimes people will do stuff like that, like asking for selfies and pushing past your boundaries, even though they're your right. They shouldn't really be doing that.
Safer Streets is funded by the Home Office and started in Liverpool, focusing around the transport network, where a survey by the Police and Crime Commissioner found women and girls felt particularly at risk.
If we're going to do that, education is really key to it. So the Send Me a Selfie workshop, working in partnership with Ariel Trust, is all about how we can empower young people, teach them the words, the language to use so they can learn boundaries, learn about what consent means, and hopefully just empower them to maybe challenge some of the attitudes that we see played out in wider society.
Safer Streets is now rolling out across Merseyside. Anne O'Connor, ITV News, Liverpool. Well, the message seems to be getting through. We could certainly learn a thing or two from those kids there.
Yeah.
Well, still to come on the programme.
A special day for 6-year-old Oscar and his challenge to climb a dozen mountains.
And if you're not already wearing the big coat, you'll certainly need it after today. The cold air returns, a taste of winter. It will feel more like freezing tomorrow. And could we see some snow? I'll have all the details later on.
Snow, where's the sunshine? Here's what's still to come on the ITV News with Mary.
Coming up on the programme, the latest on the investigation into a fatal car crash in Cardiff. Tributes have been paid to those killed in the accident. They were among a group of 5 who went missing over the weekend. Also ahead, we'll be looking at the PM's planned scheme to stop small boats, and we'll hear from critics who claim it could backfire. Plus, the next chapter will be on the red carpet with Keanu Reeves for the premiere of the latest John Wick movie. Will you join me for that and more at 6:30? You'll be watching that.
It's lots of fun.
Yeah.
If you like things that go boom.
OK.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lot of fun.
I'll be giving that a miss then. OK, now, our region, of course, is filled to the brim with impressive but ageing landmarks. So have you ever wondered about all the hard work that goes into restoring and maintaining them? Well, next tonight we meet a dedicated band of craftsmen from Lancashire who certainly do their bit.
Yeah, they certainly do. Dominic Liptrot and his team have made ornamental gates for King Charles, no less. But repairing a broken old fountain from Scotland, built in 1882, is a tough project.
Paul Crone went to see the restoration work up close.
Tucked away off a quiet country road near Ormskirk, things are busy, busy, busy for Dominic Liptrot and his team, who specialise in repairing and restoring historical public landmarks from all over the country. The latest mission of mercy is giving some TLC to the town centre fountain from Dumfries in Scotland. It's been transported to Lancashire for the urgent work to be carried out.
Some people try and encourage you to repaint it, but the problems are underneath the paint. A lot of the time they've been poorly repaired, but the interface where the castings meet, that's where they're rusting.
And pupils from St Michael's Primary School in Dumfries were invited across the border to see how the repairs are going, and also to get hands-on experience on restoring the past for future generations.
It's like interesting to see like the fountain and getting to see how it was built, the colours, and like and us learning about many facts and stuff. So it's really cool.
The fountain in Dumfries got built to celebrate people getting clean water because they were dying from the cholera.
Cherubs and crocodiles are an unusual combination on a fountain, but the Lost Ark crew take it all in their stride. When you've brought the fountain underneath Edinburgh Castle back to life, they know what they're doing. Where the idea of small children wrestling with crocodiles came from as part of the fountain is a mystery, but it is absolutely magical. And when the fountain is back in Dumfries town centre, it'll stretch 22 feet into the air and weigh over 3.5 tonnes.
People like tradition, and it is worrying because you've a lot of responsibility, but equally it's great to try and push the boundary, to try something new and create something different.
It's safe to say the primary school pupils' enthusiasm was overflowing on their visit to Lancashire. But the crocodiles, the jury's still out, I think. Paul Crone, ITV News.
Yeah, it does.
No wrestling with crocodiles at home, please. OK, moving on, Mike, because next night the 6-year-old boy who is climbing the equivalent of Mount Everest has opened the new holiday homes that he's raising money for.
Yes, Oscar Borrow from Lancaster is climbing 12 UK mountains to help Darien House Children's Hospice send poorly children on holiday to the refurbished Ribby Hall in Kirkham.
Yeah, Oscar is a complete star. So when it came to finding a VIP to open these beautifully refurbished holiday homes in Lancashire, well, there was only one choice, as Jennifer Buck reports.
Oscar Burrow may be only 6 years old, but his little legs are already taking big strides. Today he was back at ground level and cutting the ribbon on the refurbished holiday homes that provide much-needed respite for many families who rely on Darien House Children's Hospice. So what do you like about climbing the mountains?
Because it's high and you can see lots of views and you can touch the clouds.
You've started this big challenge. How's it going? Where are you up to? How many mountains have you climbed?
I climbed 7. I've got 5 left to do.
7 mountains, and he's already raised more than £12,000. That's enough to fund breaks for 12 families in the 2 fully accessible lodges near to Lytham.
For many families, going on holiday is such a stressful time, particularly the families that have children with life-limiting and life-shortening conditions. For lots of reasons, but because of all the equipment and everything that they need to take away. And for some families that use our lodges, it could be the last holiday that they get to spend together as a family.
200 families a year enjoy these facilities. Oscar is raising vital funds for the lodges because holidays are sometimes the best medicine.
Because they're the really poorly people and I want to make them go on holiday because I think it's nice instead of medicine, because I wouldn't like just having medicine, because a holiday is more funner, isn't it?
You must be so proud of Oscar.
Yeah, I'm immensely proud. I mean, who wouldn't be proud for the little boy doing this? I'm proud that he's come up with a plan with his dad. I'm proud that he's seeing this challenge through. He's just over halfway and he still wants to keep going. This is all driven by him and he wants the next mountain.
Oscar's ultimate ambition is to climb Mount Everest, and he's getting in his training 1 mountain at a time. Today he was given the newspaper from 1953 when Sir Edmund Hillary was the first to reach the summit. Now Oscar has new heights to scale. Jennifer Buck, ITV News in Kirkham.
What a wonderful report. We love Oscar.
Well done, Oscar.
Absolutely awesome young man, isn't he?
Little superstar. The weather's turning really chilly this week. Here's Joe with the forecast details.
Mum, wet wipes, toilet or bin?
Bin. Why?
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. A cold plunge of Arctic air through the rest of this week brings us right back into winter, and there'll be the increasing risk of snow for our part of the world, certainly for Thursday and Friday. In the meantime, it feels very cold both by day and night. Widespread frosts, icy stretches as we go through the next couple of days and nights, and by Thursday and Friday, some significant snowfall expected, particularly on higher ground for the Pennines and the Lakeland Hills. Fronts will move in from the Atlantic, they'll meet the cold air, and certainly by Thursday and Friday, the risk of snow increases for us here in the northwest, with strong winds, potentially some drifting snow as well. Back to this evening's details. There'll continue to be a feed of showers for a time, and some of these have a wintry mix to them, particularly on higher ground. But for most of us, they're falling as rain. The air, though, is cold now, so expect a widespread frost, and it's best to cater for a few icy stretches tonight and first thing tomorrow in the rush hour. A largely dry end to the night tonight, and Tuesday will be very frosty across the board, with the sun rising at 6:46 and setting just before 6 p.m. On to tomorrow then. Don't be fooled by any beautiful sunshine around out the window first thing. It is going to feel bitterly cold due to the Arctic air that's coming in from the north. So wrap up warm if you're heading out and about. Should be a largely dry day for many of us. A few flurries perhaps in the air out of 1 or 2 showers for Irish Sea coast, but on the whole it's dry and feeling very cold. 5 or 6 Celsius will feel more like probably 1 or 2 tomorrow afternoon, and there'll be a severe frost tomorrow night. Bye-bye.
Cleaned up well.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Come on.
Thanks, Joe. I think thank you is the word. Big coat weather, Gamal. Get your big coat on.
I felt cold just watching that forecast.
I know, cold and sunny though. It's quite a nice combo.
Where's
if you've got the right clothes on.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.